Shabbat Shalom. At Congregation Beth Torah, we know well that none of us will be here forever. We have engaged in several rounds of the Conversation Project, and we have yet another upcoming program about end-of-life planning with Dallas Jewish Funerals. In the past year, I've had multiple people come to my office to tell me their life stories and their wishes so that I can be of support to their families when the time comes. If you have not yet spoken to your family about your wishes at the end of life, if you have not yet written a will or an advanced directive, regardless of your age, this evening or tomorrow morning after Shabbat is over is the time to start. Still, full acceptance of our mortality does not just end at preparation for the end of our lives, but rather it must include preparation for the continuation of the roles, projects, and dreams that we have started, not just for the end of life, but during those times when we can't fulfill them like we planned. While death may be the most concrete example of our human impermanence, it's certainly not the only example. Even if we'd like to stay in our jobs or our volunteer positions until the day we die, family circumstances and physical abilities may change before then. We may change our life path or our location in ways we never would have expected, leaving projects, goals, and visions behind. It may be hard to imagine what our workplaces or our organizations, even our homes, would look like when we are gone, even temporarily. And yet we have the power and responsibility now to ensure that the mechanisms and the programs we have set up in these places continue to progress in our inevitable absence. In Parshat Pinchas, when Moshe surrenders himself to the reality that he will not survive the journey to the land of Israel, he takes action to preserve the vision of Israelite life that God has set out for the people Israel. Moshe asks God, "Let Adonai, source of breath and all flesh, appoint someone over the community who shall go out before them and come in before them, who shall take them out and bring them in, so that Adonai's community may not be like sheep who have no shepherd." Moshe knows the importance of appointing a successor and training him early. God then offers Joshua, a trusted member of the Israelite community, to Moshe and the people Israel. Even before Moshe knew about his impending death, throughout his leadership, Moshe gave most of God's instructions not only to the elders, the priests, or the individual tribes those instructions concerned, but to all the Israelites. All of the Israelites, then, must stay accountable to one another in implementing God's plans in the Holy Land. Finally, in the fast-approaching book of Deuteronomy, of Devarim, instead of hiding himself in his work or isolating himself from the community, Moshe uses the knowledge of his upcoming death as an opportunity to reiterate to the Israelites everything he's learned so far from God. As Moshe knows that he is mortal, he does not shy away from preparing for the future he has worked so hard to develop. We, too, can prepare for a time in which we are no longer present. In our workplaces and organizations, we can train the people around us to take on some of our roles so that if we're ever unavailable for whatever reason, no one will be left in the dark. We can let our peers know our goals for the future so that even if we don't implement those goals before our time is up, someone else may take on that challenge in the years to come. We can write detailed descriptions of what we do, how to do it, and the resources necessary for follow-through so that no one has to scramble to take our place. On a more basic, but even more crucial level, we must teach our children how to take care of themselves, how to cook, clean, do laundry, keep a job, long before it's their time to embark on their own. Early on, as much as we can, we shape the values they hold to match the world that we envision for them for their future. And beyond our children, we let friends and family know our priorities so that they can help finish the tasks we have started. Here at Congregation Beth Torah, so many people in this room have been, have been the builders of the rituals and the programs that give us our unique, welcoming, passionately Jewish character. For so many of you, these projects have been a labor of love for decades. And yet, no matter your age or the amount of time you've spent in this building, you will not be able to keep leading every single one of your projects here forever. If there's something that you have started here that only you know how to continue, now is the time to train others to follow in your footsteps. If there's something of which you have dreamed for this congregation and have not been able to implement or haven't told anyone, now is the time to share those dreams with our fellow community members. As individuals and as a congregation, we must put safeguards in place so that our vision for Congregation Beth Torah can expand if any one of us is unable to be present to implement them. Reminding us of our own human limits, Rabbi Tarfon teaches in Pirkei Avot, it's not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you free to neglect it. The recognition that it is not our responsibility to finish the work is one of humility. As none of us is the only human being on the planet who can complete a particular task, none of us should be the only one with the information and the experience and the resources to do so. In fact, it is our responsibility to make sure our visions are not neglected when we are unable to complete them. At work, at home, in our Jewish community, in our wider world, may we see Moshe as an example for how to prepare for a future without us. Today, may we share our visions, both theoretical and practical, so that they can flourish beyond our wildest imaginations tomorrow. Shabbat Shalom. I want to say Yasher Koach to Gary, who has taken